In the headlines, a week of science, technology, engineering, art and mathematics launched at the Gordon Greenidge Primary School with the aim of churning out sharp minds. Several schools in St. George got together to highlight community spirit. BICO hit by a cyber attack. And in sports, Jason Holder makes a return to the Windies team for the upcoming T20s.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tishia Hines with the details to the news. A call this evening for the education system to begin churning out more globally sharp minds that will produce ideas to innovate and solve problems. Minister of Educational Transformation Chad Blackman says this is one of the key aspects of government's ongoing education transformation agenda. He was speaking at the launch of Gordon Greenidge Primary School's Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Mathematics, or STEAM, Week 2025. Our Anesta Henry was there and files this report.
This week, students of Gordon Greenidge Primary School will be exploring their innovative creativity and problem-solving abilities as they explore the dynamics of science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, also known as STEAM. The school will be a hive of activity as it observes STEAM Week 2025. And Minister of Educational Transformation Chad Blackman is encouraging other schools to follow suit, since STEAM is at the heart of government's education transformation agenda.
So when you look at STEAM, of course, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics, all of these are the key ingredients that are needed if Barbados and the Caribbean is to really launch forward in a major way. Science is all around us, as you've heard. Every day we use science. The telephones that we use.
Minister Blackman adds that students diving deep into the world of STEAM will pave the way for them to become creators of vital technological devices and other innovations that will benefit the rest of the world.
And therefore, initiatives like this week, Madam Principal, and to your team, allows for children now to come up with things that our brains simply may not even think about. Backed by not just the technology, but the engineering side of things, the importance of math. So when you look at mathematics, it's not just now an abstract thing that you have to do Monday to Friday, and then it culminates in a common entrance exam at class 4. But mathematics really should be a very lived reality.
Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw says the Ministry of Educational Transformation is focused on ensuring students are critical thinkers.
At the Ministry of Educational Transformation, one of the things on which we focus is to ensure that our children are critical thinkers, that they can collaborate. That means that they can work with one another, they can communicate, and they can solve problems.
Principal Mary Archer, who is promising students an exciting lineup of activities, is hopeful that amid the fun and games, lessons are learnt.
We are looking forward that each child will understand the importance of technology, importance of science, and they will understand that that we can have fun while we learn.
On Thursday, parents will be allowed to visit the school to see their children's creations and also to engage in activities. During the launch, students receive their passports that will take them on the journey through STEAM Week 2025. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
The streets of Constant to Charles Road Bridge in the parish of St. George came alive today as students from 5 schools, including 4 primary schools and the St. George Secondary School, came together to highlight community spirit. The activity formed part of the parish's We Gathering 2025 month-long activities, which began on June 1st. Senior teacher in charge of the 5th years and chairman of the graduation committee, Simone Curtin, says this was also part of the school's fundraising initiatives. Ms. Curtin says this was also to bring an awareness of their upcoming Spirit of the Lion show on June 14th and 2 open days on June 18th and 19th, where the public is invited to see some of the classes and products the students engage in.
We let the community know what we're all about. We have our cheerleaders on display. We're going to come back here to the Glebe and we're going to do a display here with our cheerleaders, a collab between our cheerleaders and the St. George Primary cheerleaders. We have our Tuk Band, we have our Stilt Walkers, we have Mother Sally's and so on. All of that will be on display here today.
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley is once again advocating for Caribbean countries to work together to fight the external and internal battles affecting the region. Motley says the region must stick together to create better policies that would lead to the region overcoming its many obstacles, including climate crisis. She made the call while addressing the ruling Dominica Labour Party National Rally in Dublin, Dominica, celebrating 70 years.
So I say to you that one by one, little by little, we must continue the tradition of providing global leadership wherever we can. Don't let nobody push us back into a corner. But at the same time, that global leadership doesn't drop out of the sky. It comes from the people that you nurture, that you build up, that you take into church, that you take into school, that you take and move into cultural groups and sporting groups. It comes from us. And the minute we ever forget that is the minute we stop laying the foundation to be the best that we can be.
And Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley is also reiterating concerns that the Caribbean is underpopulated, hindering the unlocking of economic potential and growth. She says several answers to this severe population deficit is the pooling of procurement, freedom of movement, and the single market and economy.
So that when I say that we have to have a partnership between people and leaders, it is to begin to discuss some of these difficult issues, because you're not going to get the kind of economic growth without people. And that is why persons like myself and your Prime Minister and others believe in the single market and single economy, believe in the freedom of movement. But even if all of us move, we still don't have enough people in this region, other than perhaps Haiti. And then we have to begin to understand the language difficulties.
Well, coming up, the central bank celebrates its staff. A legacy of excellence, resilience, reflection, and renewal was the focal point at this year's Central Bank of Barbados Staff Awards Gala. Central Bank Governor Dr. Gordon Greenidge says resilience is about standing firm, which the staff at the Central Bank have shown. He made the remarks during the celebration at Wyndham Grand Barbados. Rachel Agard was there.
27 employees celebrating significant milestones from 5 to 40 years of dedicated service to the Central Bank of Barbados. Besides them, a number of other people also received special awards for their exceptional contribution to and elevation of the standard at the Central Bank. Governor Dr. Gordon Greenidge commended them all for their achievements and example set.
It is decades of wisdom, and above all, it is decades of resilience. And in addition to our long service awards, I want also to recognize the recipients of this year's special awards. These honors speak not to the length of the service that they provide, but more to the quality and impact of the service.
As the bank goes through a process of renewal and transformation, Dr. Greenidge says it is dependent on all team members regardless of tenure with the organization.
Renewal means embracing new ideas, upskilling, mentoring, and staying open to change. It means choosing excellence every day. It is why I continue to champion our vision of internalizing excellence. Because when excellence becomes embedded in how we think and how we act, and how we show up to work, and how we support one another, in how we serve the public, then we do more than meet targets. We create meaningful, lasting impact.
The Communications Department were the recipients of the coveted Governor's Award. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Thanks, Rachel, and congrats to all of the awardees. The Ministry of Culture is embarking on initiatives to get more young people involved in the process of preserving and telling our country's history. Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with responsibility for culture, Dr. Chantel Monroe-Knight, says this is necessary amid concerns that Barbados has lost 3 noted historians in the space of just weeks. She spoke about government's plans to get young people involved in the preservation and promotion of the heritage history during the launch of Heritage Month 2025 at the Morgan Lewis Sugar Mill. Our Anesta Henry has that report.
3 Barbadian historians, Dr. Carl Watson, Trevor Marshall, and Professor Pedro Welch passing this year, has left a great void, leaving many invested and interested in the preservation of historical events to wonder how exactly that void will be filled. While admitting this may be a challenge, Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with responsibility for culture, Dr. Chantel Monroe-Knight, says the ministry is seeking to engage young people in preserving the country's history.
The work that Dr. Johnson is doing on the National Register, we have heritage stewards, young people who've come through the University of the West Indies program, and we are engaging them to make sure, again, that they understand fundamentally those principles, the actual practical work that it takes, the research, but also engaging communities very frontally in understanding what are those areas, sites, and people that we should honor.
Several young people are also showing interest in the Tyrrell Court Heritage Village. Young children are exposed to the country's history through the National Library Service annual summer camp, and the National Cultural Foundation, through its intangible cultural heritage programs, introduces young people to the landship and other cultural traditions. But according to Dr. Monroe-Knight, government needs partnerships.
It needs a recognition that this challenge, as I said before, is one that we must do together. It is one that we must stand shoulder to shoulder with non-governmental organizations, private sector partners, and other critical stakeholders in this effort. And again, Heritage Month provides the wonderful platform to see all of those things, all of those stakeholders working together.
Coordinator with the Division of Culture in the Prime Minister's Office, Dr. Sharon Johnson, says several activities have been planned to commemorate Heritage Month.
In support of Regathering, there will be a pop-up at the St. George Regathering Marquee event on June 21st. And at this event, you will see several departments within the Division of Culture engaging the public and curating exhibitions and speaking about the work the Division of Culture does in relation to heritage protection and preservation. The Barbados National Trust is inviting the public to attend its Windows Look, See, Learn, Understand, But Tour on June 21st. This tour will be visiting 3 national sites. Morgan Lewis is one, Terracotta is the other, as well as Gun Hill, and providing a brief history of other historic areas in Barbados.
Several people involved in the heritage sector were awarded for their respective outstanding contributions during the launch. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
5.5 months of dedicated work has allowed the team at the Graham Hall Nature Sanctuary to open its doors following a 16.5-year hiatus. The redesigned attraction is quite the sight to see, with a reptile and a variety of birds, some of which patrons can feed. Rachel Agard got a first-hand look and files this report.
Several locals and tourists were given the opportunity to get a look at the offerings as the Graham Hall Nature Sanctuary opened its doors to the public once again. And a number of people were fortunate to catch a glimpse of a migratory bird, the osprey. On the first day of operations, there was a steady flow of people visiting the Worthing Christchurch attraction.
It has been no small feat but it has been done in what I consider a very short time, with the redevelopment starting in January of this year, and we are now open today, May the 31st. So within less than 5 months, we have been able to take this facility from what it was when it was first acquired in December, to refresh it, to have it open for the public's enjoyment. And as I said, that's been no small feat. I want to thank the team for all they've done to get us to where we are.
Climatologist Dr. Cedric Van Meerbeck says he is truly enjoying the new sanctuary.
I have roamed the sanctuary several times before it was finished, and I'm so pleased to see how it turned out today.
Visitor Rosalind says she liked that the animals, especially the birds, have adequate room to move freely and are not caged like in a zoo.
I think this is something, I hope it really, really works so well, because I think Barbados needs something like this. You know, we have the sea and the sand, but we also need something else that people can go to. And not just visitors, sorry, definitely the local folks. Guided tours run from Wednesday to Sunday, beginning at 9 a.m., with the last one scheduled to begin at 3 p.m. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
The Barbados Cadet Corps propelled Randy Eastman to want to work with younger people and help them reach their truest potential. Now an educator, Eastman, a former member of the No. 3 Cadet Company at Combermere School, says his journey through the Corps helped him to grow, better understand young people, and led him to a position of helping them. Eastman says it wasn't always an easy journey, but he found a way to make the classroom an interactive one, where every child felt welcome. He was speaking as a guest on our Morning Barbados.
Understanding from a very young age that this is an organization that pretty much funneled young people and helped them to channel their energies in a positive direction, and seeing the outcomes, the transformations, the change, persons like myself and other persons who would have joined with me, the discipline that was instilled and how that caused a huge transformation. I said, you know, I want to be a part of that transformation for other people. And as I grew in the ranks in cadets, and then having responsibility for younger persons and subordinates, seeing the influence they had on persons and being able to make that positive change, that really inspired me. And I knew from then that I would be working with young persons.
Switching gears now, police are tonight investigating a robbery in the Ivory St. Michael, which occurred about 2:10 p.m. And Police Public Affairs and Communications Officer, Acting Inspector Ryan Brathwaite, is appealing to anyone with information to assist with investigations. Meanwhile, one resident who declined to speak on camera is calling for the return of the police outpost and for the police top brass to conduct a walkthrough of the area.
Investigations revealed that a group of men were sitting outside a shop when they were approached by two masked men who were both carrying firearms. One of the men got up to run off but fell. The assailants robbed him of his property and then fled the scene after discharging a series of gunshots. The victim was taken for medical attention in a private motor car. Reports have shown that he suffered a dislocated shoulder and abrasions to his feet and hands as a result of the fall. No one at the scene suffered any gunshot injuries, neither was there any damage to property. Investigations are continuing into the matter. We are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed this incident or have any information that may assist us to please contact the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-8477, Police Emergency at 211, or the District A Police Station at 430-7242 or 430-7246.
I need something to be done. My district is getting out, and this is not St. Michael's. Where are the politicians? You mean the body in here? I understand that we're in the peace program. None of the youngsters doesn't know about the peace program, the national peace program. It's not right. The relevant stakeholders need to come out and get together these people.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power Inn. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
And Anne-Marie Burke is here with some good news. Good evening to you, Anne-Marie.
Good evening to you, Tisha. Now, some of the island's older athletes defied age and settled some scores at Queen's College over the weekend when the field events took center stage to open the 2025 edition of the National Senior Games. CBC's Melissa Farley reports.
What's life without laughter? It was a day to showcase ageless competition as about over 100 competitors ranging from age 40 to 90 demonstrated that athleticism knows no limit. We are looking at some of the women's discus throw 40 to 44. This was your winner, Sandrina Small, with a throw of 28.58 meters. That was a good distance from Tonya Edwards, who threw 20.27, and Liana Levine with 18.11. Celia Collymore then won the 45 to 49 category, throwing 26.56 meters ahead of Nicole Brathwaite with 21.72 and Talia Lane with 19.73. The 50 to 54 title went to Paula Dean with 20.42 meters, as the next best throwers were Gail Paris with 17.55 and Lisa Scott with 15.24. Let's head over now to the men's shot put event 40 to 44. Not many in this category. Juman Lord took this one with 9.89 meters ahead of Pedro McLean with 8.43. In the 40 to 45, Antonio Mears took that division with a throw of 9.23 meters, leaving Dexter Squires behind him with 8.25 and Sean Wilkinson with 7.80. The 50 to 54 category was won by a familiar face and the man who helps to push field events in Barbados, Charles Walcott, with a big throw of 13.35 meters. That was further than the second best from Richard Blunt with 10.10. Tragon Archibald had 9.69. Track and field national coach Alwyn Babb was the lone competitor in the 55 to 59 division. The 65 to 69 title went to Rixam Leacott with 8.44 meters ahead of Eon Mitchell with 8.06 and Ricardo Seal with 7.38. And it was Ridley Holder who won the 70-plus category with a 9.21 meters. He led Norman Jones with 8.36 and Charles McConney with 7.40. To some women's cricket ball throw where one of the oldest competitors took to the field in the 70-plus division. This is 90-year-old Gloria McColling. Her efforts earned her 10th place with a throw of 14.19 meters. It was eventually won by 71-year-old Jonita Austin with 30.65 ahead of Alvina Thomas with 29.48 and Esther Thornhill with 27.00. All in all, it was stiff competition. Melissa Farley, CBC Sports.
Operations at BICO Limited are up and running. That's according to Chairman and Managing Director Edwin Thurwell, after the company suffered a cyber attack over the weekend. He tells the business report the IT technical staff is working on the problem and no damage was done.
The 2 days and nights they were working, trying to restore the service, what we established was that, well, nobody's data was damaged, nobody's information was leaked out. We just did everything we could to close down the system. We're in the process now of downloading what we have captured and stored overnight since Tuesday, and all the transactions that we've done in the meantime by hand have now got to be fed into the system.
The company official says they have started a process of strengthening their operating systems.
We're online and we're dealing directly, but at the moment we're working through kind of secondary lines and all kinds of things we're having to do to keep the show on the road. But we haven't lost any business. The factory's been working, producing milk. It's just that it was very inconvenient. We couldn't do business by phone as we usually do.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In, Pause is Power, and by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time for the second half of sports with Anne-Marie Burr.
And I start this second half again with some cricket news as Mass Sporting Services of Barbados played undefeated in the 2025 Tobago over 50s T20 cricket fiesta to be crowned champions after winning the final against Tobago legends at Shaw Park. Batting first, Mass Barbados posted an impressive 184 with Jeffrey Lafont top scoring with 54. That included 4 fours and a 6, while Andy Payne added 48 and Pedro Agar 38 not out. Legends replied with 134-9, closing the innings in 19.1 overs for Mass Barbados to win by 51 runs. Player of the final, Wesley Straker, took 5 for 24 and Ken Mears 2 for 30. Now, Barbados are the champions of the Bi-Nation Blind T20 Cricket Series with Guyana. Playing in the final match at Weymouth recently, Barbados defeated Guyana by 7 wickets. Anmar Goodrich Boyce reports.
Guyana won the toss and elected to bat first. The score is 22 for 1. Kevin Douglas smashes the first boundary of the innings while hit through the covers. But Guyana lost their first wicket a few deliveries later. Robindra Ramnath hits the wicket. Guyana 64 for 2. Guyana lost their next wicket on this delivery. It was never a run and they paid big time. Dimitri Waldron run out for 2. Guyana 71 for 3. And the wickets kept coming for Barbados. Anthony Cummins to Anthony Robinson, and that's adjudged to be LBW. He made 2. The score 77 for 4. Douglas, however, stayed at the crease and picked up the runs. This time, Grenville Carter is hit to the boundary 4 more. He ended not out on 48 as Guyana finished the innings on 149 for 5. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
In reply, Barbados reached 152 for 3, led by an unbeaten 65 from Halden Ford. Now, the Barbados Olympic Association and the National Olympic Academy of Barbados have launched a 2025 edition of the Advanced Sports Management course. Held recently at the Barbados Hilton Hotel, the opening ceremony was an opportunity for the BOA to highlight the 22 participants from various local sporting organizations. The course will comprise 14 sessions through to November 22nd. Assistant Secretary General of the BOA, Shelly-Ann Griffith, outlined aspects of the program and advised this year's cohorts to continue to seek opportunities for growth.
Guyana won the toss and elected to bat first. The score is 20.
This program is designed to build on the principles imparted in the basic sports admin course and to provide you with more comprehensive understanding of the administrative aspects of the sports, including marketing, event management, finance, and strategic leadership. You'll not only learn the theory, but also gain practical experience through hands-on projects and shared personal experience from our knowledgeable program director, facilitators, and presenters.
BOA Board Director and Chair of the Education Commission, Dr. Sasha Sutherland, got over the point that sports is no longer just play and competition.
These topics, both functional and ideological, serve as important precursors to enable you to operate as socially aware administrators who are competent enough to assume responsibility for the development, administration, and overall progress of your clubs and national sport federations. This is not a step to take lightly. While the Olympic movement thrives on volunteerism, there is nothing amateur about this course or what will be expected of you upon completion.
Program Coordinator Dave Palmer contends that national federations who are well managed are better equipped to produce national athletes.
The main topic areas in the SMC are your sport management, the management of your sport organization, strategic planning, resource management, meaning managing all of the resources that your federation has, financial management, marketing management, and major games management.
And that's it for sports. So back over to you, Tisha.
Hey, thanks so much, Anne-Marie. And that's news. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.